Okay, welcome back to today's episode of the Canton podcast. As per usual, we are your hosts. We are your only people here who are talking.
Hello. Great to see you again.
If you've missed our other episodes or don't know our faces by now, I'm Kate, and then this is my husband,
Eric.
Yep, we run Homes by Valor together. We both live in and love Canton, and so we just like to kind of chat each week about what we're loving about Canton, some real estate news, little advice things, and then we always end up with couples trivia, which either brings us closer together or drives us apart for the week. You never know.
Find out today, right?
Exactly, but I figure we always kind of start off with what we've been up to this week.
Exactly.
It's kind of a little summary for you guys, and also just a way to stop it from being such a cold open. So
it's a great time. So you want to start us off, Kate?
Sure. This week, it has been all about tennis for me.
Really?
I have been absolutely loving that the weather has been a little bit cooler. Now,
it has been nice.
When I say cooler, I don't mean it's cold enough for me yet.
Yeah.
But I can usually make it through the first 45 minutes of tennis without extreme sweat. And then only the second part of tennis is extreme sweat. So that's a big win for me.
That's a big upgrade from the normal summertime.
The fact that we've been seeing things in the 65-degree range.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's been nice for us.
Much.
Our garden could be a little bit happier.
We don't talk about the garden.
We'll talk about the garden later.
Our poor garden. We never should have been trusted. They should have turned us away at Sprouts when we went to Sprouts to buy. That's not what it's called. What is it called?
It's Pike's Nursery.
Pikes. Why did I call it Sprouts?
Because
Sprouts
that's
is a fun grocery store right around there. Obviously, I have
It'd
the
be
two.
a good name for a
confused.
nursery too.
Pikes. They should have turned us away at Pikes. Other than, honestly, I think the tea olive is doing really well.
Tea olive's doing great. The India Hawthorn.
All right, and both of those.
The purple bushes, whatever those are called.
We are fabulous owners of those, but the gardenias and azaleas.
The Lazarus purple plant that we got.
What are you talking about?
The one that's in the potted plant in the corner.
Oh, that one was awesome.
It was crazy. It was completely dead, dry as a bone. Put some water on it, and it came back.
Honestly, that was miraculous and beautiful for a while. I hope it still has one flower, so I hope we're able to keep that alive. But like we were saying, other than gardening and all of that,
it's been nice
tennis
for being outside.
Yeah,
the
tennis has been great.
Really good. I mean, it was even nice when we did the 5K recently.
Oh yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this on one of the other episodes, but if you have not signed up for a 5K around Canton, I would say it's turning into
fantastic.
the ideal time of year for it. They usually start really early in the morning, so you are catching that kind of cold weather. I know Bazaar, I talk about Bazaar all the time.
We'll talk about it more later.
My dream is to get the owners of Bazaar onto this podcast. I want to interview them and see where all their ideas came from and all of that. And Almost Coffee would be great as well. If you are a local business owner who would love to be on our podcast, we would love to feature you, by the way.
Absolutely.
Direct shout out, because I would love to get some more voices from the community, like talking about what it's been like to live in and work in Canton. So just putting that out into the universe. I'm talking to you. If you have any sort of connection to Canton and you're a business owner, please let us know. We would love to feature you on our podcast and give you a place to talk about what it's like to be a business owner here. So
completely true. Great plug right there.
Well, I talked about tennis and that's, by the way, CTC, Cherokee Tennis Center. It's in Woodstock, so not technically in Canton, but if you're looking for a great place to play, I'd absolutely recommend going to them for great drills. They do drills Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, and every evening as well for an hour and a half for $15.
What do the courts look like, Kate?
They've got nice courts. I mean, I don't really have a strong description, but
there's a lot of them, right?
There are a lot of courts. I think they probably have 15 total or 12 total.
So it's like an entire tennis center.
It's a really nice place, and all the people are really great, and it's a fun way to get together. So I did want to highlight that as well, because for a long time when I graduated, I didn't have a place to go and play tennis since we don't have one in our neighborhood, and so if you are someone like that who wants a community, who loves playing tennis, definitely check out CTC.
That's a good one. I mean, in the same vein of like hitting stuff on a court, I've been really into pickleball. Yeah. Like I've been popping off on the pickleball train recently. I love the
pickleball too, honestly.
It's been so good.
You might be converting me.
I mean, we talked a little bit about it maybe earlier in another podcast when we played in Destin.
We've been playing a lot, so we probably have talked about it.
But I love how many courts are available to the public in Canton. Yeah. You have Kenny Askew, veterans over on coming highway. You know, there's so many public opportunities to go and just be able to play outside and like it's really quality. There's been a huge parks initiative that Canton's been executing.
I love that. I saw that they're putting in another park in Ball Ground as well. So I have been so incredibly pleased with Cherokee County and the infrastructure they're building in for green spaces and parks, because I think we have so much growth coming, and I love to see new housing opportunities and everything like that too. That also makes me happy. But the fact that they're reserving these great green spaces for parks and play and kids to go and use like as a nice, healthy, safe space. I love that.
It's only going to become more important to have green spaces the more and more developed, you know, Metro Atlanta gets.
And I also love that we can live in a neighborhood that doesn't have amenities, but still have access to so many amenities.
It's so nice.
It means that we can stay in our house longer before we need to move. And, you know, it's one less thing that's pushing us to have to upgrade houses or anything like that.
It's a very quality thing to have access to.
Big fan of parks.
Good job, Canton.
Good job, Canton, and Cherokee in general. I've been honestly, super pleased. Well, I guess that we kind of talked about what we've been up to, but I guess just a lot of pickleball, sports, tennis, and enjoying the weather. We have a busy social week coming up too. Not like I'm feeling almost a little nervous about it. I'm like so excited to see everyone, but I'm like, okay, Friday coffee date, Friday evening friends and board games and dinner night. Saturday friends come into town. Sunday we have another we it's are nonstop. Fully booked this weekend. Your resident socialites, don't mind us, but we're excited. I think it'll be a really nice time. I'm excited to see a lot of the people we haven't seen in a long time. I think really that's going to be great. Yeah. So, yay. I guess we can go ahead and talk about then the best thing we ate or drank around Canton this week. Well, I think we both are thinking, where you've mind melded here.
Oh, because we went by the farmer's market.
That was so nice. I feel so ashamed that we have lived in Canton for so long and we've never gone by the farmer's market intentionally.
For those of you who don't know, every single Saturday morning in downtown Canton,
I want to say it's from like 8:30 to 12 or something like that. It's somewhere in that range.
It's the morning time, right? Morning to midday.
Yeah.
There's just a Canton farmers market that goes on.
And it's so cute. There were so many like businesses that had stands set up. They had everything from fancy fresh made macarons to hot sauces to locally butchered meat to just all sorts of great stands that were fabulous. And it was really nice ambiance to walk around. There was music playing. A couple of the stands had like bubbles going.
Shooting out. Like, I didn't like the bubbles.
It was not only great to just sort of like walk hand in hand and have like a little nice morning, but it was also just fun to kind of see what's going on around Canton
nice. and
all
especially
of that.
Like going back to the earlier touch, the temperature getting cooler.
Oh my gosh,
it was all fantastic.
It was. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like Gilmore Girls. I honestly felt like I was in Gilmore Girls, like walking around and enjoying local small town life and like meeting everyone. It was really, really nice. So I highly recommend that. That and then like First Fridays we've talked about a little bit. I love that Canton has focused so much on building in local events for people to meet other local people.
Exactly.
I think it's really nice.
They're trying to build those, interlocal business relationships. And, you prosper as a community.
100%. Well, we talked all about that, but then we didn't talk about the best thing we ate or drank around Canton this week.
It was around the farmer's market, which is Bazaar Coffee.
Yeah, I know. We already talked about Bazaar Coffee. I can't ever stop talking about them. This is the problem. This is why they need to come on our podcast.
But here's the twist. I didn't get coffee this last time.
I know. Well, here's the thing. You're not a huge coffee guy, right? I've converted you a little bit, but it's taken some persuasion.
It's just a lot of bean water to me,
Oh, the heartbreak. Not the bean water. Oh my gosh. See, this is why they have to come on. They have to convert you fully. But what did you get instead? Because you did enjoy it,
But they have a lot of other options that are fantastic, even if you don't like coffee, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of their teas, their chais. I, this past time, got a matcha apple cider blend they were doing.
Yeah, what was it called? Like the Wicked Apple, I think is what that was.
Yes, Wicked Apple. I had it written right there.
Yeah, it looks crazy. It was really if you can picture matcha, it was basically like green on top and then like apple cider below, and they had like their different densities, so they were resting one on top of the other until you stirred it all around.
They complemented each other well. I liked it. I'd get it again, honestly.
I tried it. I liked it once it was mixed. I did not like it before it was mixed. Fair. And you tried the other apple cider one too, right? Just like the Crisp Orchards.
Yeah, Crisp Orchards.
I think is what it's called, where it's just locally sourced apple cider.
Apple cider.
I also think is so cool.
And lemonade.
Oh, right. And it had cinnamon in it. I forgot.
Cinnamon. I did like the cinnamon, that one. That one was good too.
I'm such a sucker for cinnamon. Everything good in life has cinnamon involved.
Yeah.
What did I get? I have now tried 3 of their new coffees from their fall menu.
Oh, wow.
I have to avoid anything that has pumpkin in it.
When did their fall menu come out,
used
Kate?
all. I don't want to say. I think it's only been a week. I think I've gone 3 times this week. How embarrassing that I had to publicly announce that. But you know what? I am loud and proud about my bizarre addiction.
It's never embarrassing to support a local business.
That's what I'm saying. I love it. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
It's for the podcast.
Right.
I'm doing community research. I've got to try all the flavors.
But which has been your favorite that you tried?
That's a hard question. I really like Stick Season.
Stick Season.
Actually, that was a really good one. Oh, I wish you wouldn't ask that. I think it had...
Sticks?
I can't remember. It was such a good, cozy drink, though. Fair. It had, like, chai vibes, I want to say. Or maybe it wasn't chai, but it had, like, the cinnamony, cozy sort of feeling to it.
I remember you describing it to me.
I think that one was the one that didn't have foam. The one that did have foam was the cozy... something. I didn't write it down, but it was...
Next time.
Oh, no, Fresh Baked. That's the one I'm talking about. Yes. That one had apple and a cheesecake topper, and, like, it sounds so good, and it was good.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite is the one that I just had, and that's Golden Hour.
Golden Hour.
It is... so good. It is a mocha. I think it had caramel in it too. Yeah. So it's like it's like eating a cookie
for sure.
out of the oven. It was like so sweet and delicious.
That's lovely.
And I got it iced, but I bet it would even be good warm, like a hot coffee.
Wow. That means something from you.
Coming from me, that is
Folks, she does not like hot coffee.
I used to. Actually, Kate Lore, I used to only drink hot coffee until like 4 years ago. And then I like my sister was like, I love iced coffee. I was like, ew, why do you want it to be cold? Isn't that like gross? And then I tried it one time with her, and it turns out she was right all along.
Well, you want it to be
as
cold.
As she usually is.
So you can fight like entropy and stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. Me. Fighting entropy every chance I get. That's why I make all my food choices the way I do. But anyway, so iced coffee now, but I think that one will be especially good either way, because it's so like mocha-y and yummy.
No. I had a sip of it. It was pretty good, honestly.
We should stop on the way back.
It was pretty good for bean water. I'll say it.
Oh my gosh. Get him out of here.
All right.
So, you guys know we always like to do a little bit of real estate talk too. We love our local community, but part of loving our local community is making sure that you guys are prepared to be as successful as possible in real estate.
Maybe even live in it.
And it turns out we know a thing or two.
We try.
And so we want to give you guys a few tips this week as far as real estate goes. One of the things that I wanted to kind of start out with is because we're seeing some kind of big changes in the real estate world right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Big shifts in like where money is coming from, and who's paying agents and things like that.
Big moves.
And so one of the things I wanted to let you know is I genuinely think it's more important than ever. I'm looking at you. You see, I'm not even looking at him. I'm looking right at the camera. It's more important than ever to choose an agent who you genuinely feel is a true advocate and a true expert and professional for you, especially as a buyer. Right now, we're in a situation where they are no longer publishing compensation offered to agents online, which means that some sellers will continue to offer it. No problem. Like, no worries at all. And then others might stop offering it, and you will need an advocate to either come in and help you get your agent's compensation paid for, so that you do have a true advocate who can write you the offers, who can get you in the door, who can provide expertise. And so you really want to choose someone wisely. You don't just want to go with your friend's sister who's been doing this for 6 months and who seems cool. Like you want someone who has hundreds of deals of experience, and who works on a team who's been around for a while.
Who has the resources to be able to give you that support and
who can have real conversations about the best way for you to navigate changes that are happening in the market. The thing is, I don't at least right now, we're not seeing crazy changes in day-to-day life, but I think in the next few months we're bound to see some. Yeah. And so you just want someone who you feel completely confident not only wants to advocate for you, but has the tools in their tool belt to advocate for you.
Absolutely.
So just make sure, interview your agents thoroughly, really have good talks with them about what sets them apart. Mm-hmm. How are they going to look out for you in the current market, and how do they run their business in a way that's going to put you in a good position to make a good purchase or a good sale of your current home?
I think that's really good advice for such a moment of flux in the industry.
Yeah, for sure. Because the thing is, and that was such a serious note, but people are always going to buy houses. People are always going to sell houses. And so you just want to make sure that you choose a great advocate for you for whichever part of the process you're partaking in.
100%.
It's all going to be okay. Just make sure that you choose someone who knows how to make it okay.
Exactly.
So that's my little advice there.
Well, good job. Good little advice.
Thank you. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to talk about, on maybe a less somber note, the Fed recently announced, Jerome Powell, leader of the Fed, that there might be some rate cuts in our future.
Yeah, rate cuts.
Rate cuts, right?
I know to be excited about that. What does that mean?
Rate cuts mean that you can afford more on your loans.
So basically, it means the interest rates might go down.
Going down.
Right?
Yeah. But the material, how that affects you, right, is that you can qualify for larger loan amounts.
Yes, because your interest rate goes into how large your monthly payment is going to be. Let's say you're borrowing, you're buying a house for $300,000, you're putting down $40,000. That means you're borrowing $260,000. If you're paying 6% interest versus 5% interest on that $260,000, that's going to make a huge difference per month in your monthly payment. And so the fact that rates are going down is fabulous news with the small, so what would you advise people do now?
So right now, the cuts are not in effect, right?
They've just said they're going to be.
They said they're going to be. So
and we have been seeing them trend down, I will say.
They have been kind of trending down. I think right now the Fed has them at 5.3. Again, that translates to an actual nominal interest rate of a little bit higher on the real estate side.
And it also depends on your credit and how much you're putting, all of that.
But their plan, or what they've announced as their plan, is that sometime in the middle of September, they're looking at maybe dropping by either a quarter, basically, of a point interest rate, or even up to a half, maybe.
So we might get down to 5% or something a little above.
Yeah, we might go to 4.5. We might go to just 5. It's in response to the labor market getting a little bit more dicey, right?
I mean, I don't know how I have definitely seen more people looking for jobs and everything recently, and so I'm glad that they're doing something to make housing more affordable because it's gotten so expensive around here. That's great news. With my only caveat being, since we know that this rate drop is potentially coming, we saw what happened. When the rates were down at 2.75, really, really low, housing prices went straight up. And so my best advice to people is honestly, go ahead and start looking. If you've been holding off for a while, find your house, get it under law, and then refinance when it gets lower. Now, refinancing is not always necessarily super cheap, so find a lender who will allow you to maybe do it one time for free within the first few years, or where that's built in, where you can choose a new rate within the time that you've done a temporary rate buy down, whatever. That's a lot of lingo I'm throwing out there, so feel free to reach out to ask particular questions, but don't wait until the rates hit rock bottom, or you're going to be fighting with every buyer who also wants that same rate.
Exactly. You want to be on whenever rates are on the downslope. You don't want to be at the valley.
Exactly, because otherwise that's when the prices are going to get significantly higher, especially depending on how everything goes and how the timing works. If that happens around spring market, we all know. I mean, even those of you who have not been in the real estate industry probably know spring market is about the craziest time for housing anyway. If those two things interact, it's going to be bananas again. So you don't necessarily want to buy in a bananas market. You want to buy in a market where you have a day to think about things, to negotiate back and forth, to get some closing costs paid for, to get, you know, to have more advantages in your favor in a more even market. So just keep that in mind. We obviously don't have a crystal ball. We can't see the future, but I do think that if rates continue to drop and get very, very competitive, more and more people will be able to afford the houses that you're thinking about buying, which pushes up competition and makes it harder to buy the house.
Exactly.
So, you know, just find that great balance there. Work with an agent. Again, just goes back to work with someone who has your best interests at heart 100%. And who teaches you how to do this in the best way possible.
Exactly. And talk to your loan officers. Know their programs they have available and all that good stuff too.
Oh, I'm excited. I just looked down at my list about the next thing I want to talk about. And I do think this one's very important too. It's a very different kind of note than what we've been talking about, but it also comes down to thoughtfulness.
Okay.
One thing I've been seeing a lot with my buyers who are starting to turn around and sell is that maybe 20% of them really wish that they had thought more long-term when they were purchasing. And they didn't know that they would be in a financial situation to hold on to this house and then buy another one. But if they had, they might have considered more if they could rent it out or not. Because I'm having some buyers who are like, hey, I'm excited to buy my next house. I really like this one. I actually think it can make a great rental. Only my HOA restricts it. You know,
and how are they restricting that?
Basically, HOAs have covenants. And I'm not anti-HOA just so you know, I think it helps increase your value substantially. It helps make sure that you don't have a terrible neighbor who drives you crazy because there are some rules they have to abide by. But it's worth examining the HOA bylaws if you think there's any chance that you might want to rent out your home one day. Because sometimes they do limit whether you can do that or not. Some neighborhoods they pride themselves in not being renter friendly. They pride themselves in being owners only. And that goes for short-term rentals. It goes for long-term rentals. It goes for all of those sorts of things. So one thing to do if you, I know you can't know necessarily if you're going to be able to hold on to your current house
but if you're going
years.
down the list, you know, and you're checking off, all right, I'm getting to my extras list. I'm seeing what would be good for me to look at as well.
Then potentially consider that, or even the best of both worlds is when an HOA is limited on how many rentals it allows, but you put yourself on the list when you first move in so that when a spot empties out, okay, maybe it's time for you to buy that next house, that upgrade you've been wanting, the bigger one you've wanted, and rent out your current place so that you're still holding on to the increasing equity in that home and paying your mortgage by using that rent 100%. To pay for it. So basically just that all sums down to try and think ahead of time when you're buying a house. Not just about renting, but where are you going to be in 5 years, do you think? Is this house still going to serve you, or do you think you're going to want to sell it in that time?
100%.
And what current elements of this house make it great to sell in 5 years?
Absolutely.
Or, you know, is the area growing? Would holding on to it for 2 more years make a big difference? Like, just try to think about that whole bigger picture instead of just getting excited about what the kitchen looks like.
Absolutely.
Like, do that too. Get excited. Love the houses that you're looking at. But just also, if you can, keep in mind the bigger picture and how this is also a really great investment for you.
I think that's so good. And it actually leads perfectly into what I was going to talk about.
I love it when that happens.
I know, right? Funny. I was actually going to talk about, instead of the house and covenants and that sort of stuff, looking at land, right? And rules that come along with land, almost like covenants, but on the county level or city level, that restrict your enjoyment of that land.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I have a client right now who's been building, and I recruited you to help put together a spreadsheet for them of here is how all of the different counties treat subdividing parcels, gifting land to family, allowing little short-term rentals or accessory dwellings to be built.
I mean, just to give some examples, in North Georgia, right? It varies county to county. First of all, if zoning exists, Union County doesn't have zoning.
That is crazy to me. That's so crazy to me because they're one of the most important departments in most of the counties I work with.
So assuming zoning exists, right? Call the zoning department. You can get these answers there. But basically, you know, there's a minimum acreage that you can reduce a parcel down to. So say you got 5 acres. You want to go ahead and parcel that into, I don't know, I want to give
a 3 and a 2.
A 3 and a 2 or something like that. Sometimes you can do that. If it's zone agricultural, and a lot of them, minimum 5 acres.
Yeah.
You
that
know?
makes a big difference, right? Because you definitely, like 5 acres, you would think, oh, I've got so much land, I can do whatever I want with it. But it turns out that depending on the zoning it currently is, you are still restricted, even if you're not necessarily in an HOA or anything like that. So
minimum acreage is something to think about. Also, something that maybe not a lot of people think about is that you need to have a certain amount of road frontage.
Oh, yeah, that makes a huge difference.
So road frontage, for those of you who don't know, so say like that's basically how much of your property butts up against the road, right? So in a lot of counties, it's 150 feet, or it could be even down to 60 feet. You know, it just depends on the zoning and what the restrictions are.
And how busy the street is and all of that. Like a lot of that makes a difference. One of the things that they definitely want is enough room for a good driveway to go in and still have buffer room so that it's not 100% driveway, right?
And if it's supposed to be
if it's supposed to be like an agricultural area, they don't want it to feel like suburbia or the heart of the city. And so they do want you to have enough road frontage that you're spread out, and it still feels like you're in the country if you're 100%. Zoned agricultural.
Another thing, a lot of counties don't like having more than one dwelling per parcel. That's very important. Even if it's like, I don't know, you're building a small cabin in like the corner of your property.
Or a guest house or something like that. Mother-in-law house.
Absolutely. Sometimes it has to be connected via breezeway to even count for you to even start construction, or they won't allow it at all. And you have to parcel off a little bit of it.
If you have enough land to even do so.
If you have enough land to do so.
And road frontage.
Road frontage as well.
It's complicated, man.
And that, it's not even getting into short-term rental stuff, right? Yeah. Say you wanted to, I don't know, I got 10 acres I'm sitting on over in Towns County, right? Yeah. And I'm just over here and I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can parcel off a little bit of this and make a little bit of income on the side, you know?
Yeah. Put a tiny little 1-bedroom Airbnb, little romantic, cabin.
Make your land work for you.
You may not be able to do it unless your county allows it.
Unless your county allows it. Some counties actually have to, they make you go through an entire process of rezoning.
Yeah. And rezoning is kind of as complicated as it sounds. Don't you have to submit?
You have to submit an application to a board, and then they approve it.
Usually.
It takes months, and then it can be denied.
Yeah.
Right? So just things to be aware of, getting the brain cogs chugging. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it is going to be, but be prepared.
Yeah. Think about everything all the time, all at once.
But of course you can't do this, so that's why you got us.
You can't. And exactly. That's what we're here for. And also, that's why we take this one step at a time, right? Problems 100%. Feel a lot easier when you can actually just know the steps you might have to take in order to see if it's possible.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you eat any meal that's in front of you? It's one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
Yep. Wow. That's very
I'll
wise.
Put that on a hat.
And a shirt.
And a shirt.
Double or nothing.
All right. Fantastic. Good real estate section.
Good real estate. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Good job. The next one that we always like to talk about is date ideas around Canton.
Date ideas.
We kind of already talked about mine, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Yeah. But we had such a nice time walking around the farmers market at Canton this Saturday that I would highly recommend you do the same. Grab yourself a coffee, grab yourself a breakfast, walk around the city, and just enjoy. It's a very walkable little downtown.
It's lovely. So the exact location of it is actually centered around Brown Park.
Yes.
In downtown Canton.
Yeah, such a cute little park. Yeah. There were tons of kids playing and enjoying the weather.
There's a giant playground. It was great. Man, it was fantastic.
Yeah. And then they had music going and they had the bubbles, like I said. So it was just great ambiance. And then you kind of walk all around Brown Park where you have stands set up on either side of the street, rounding the square around it.
Farm and fresh eggs.
It felt super casual. Man. No one was poaching us, trying to talk to us. It just felt so nice and downtown, it was coziness. Lovely. It was very fall vibes.
And honestly, it made me very proud to be a part of Canton.
I agree completely. Really nice. I was just sitting there going, man, I love where we live.
Yeah.
And I think that pretty often we love where we live, but it was like a little extra glimmer of like soul joy going on.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
I think that's a really good spot. If you guys like the whole like grab a coffee and yap kind of situation for a date, that's absolutely a good way to do it.
Exactly.
What about you? What's your date idea?
So mine is a little bit more, I don't know how you'd say it, maybe a little bit more docile, right?
Okay.
I'm definitely, I don't know, between the two of us, I feel like I'm maybe a little bit more of a homebody.
That's probably true. I do like to go out occasionally, but I'm not, we match up pretty well. It's not like I like to go out that much.
A double date board game night with a couple's friend.
We're doing that this week.
We're doing that this week? What? We're doing that multiple times this week.
Oh my gosh, we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think that's such a good date night idea.
I'm so excited for it, honestly. You know, I sound a little bit sarcastic, but I actually really enjoy a good board game night. Order in food from a local business.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know where we're going to get it yet. I think we might get PETA, which is not super local, but still it's owned. It's a franchise. Right? You know? Yeah, owned by someone who lives in the community. Yeah. So that's a really good one. But anywhere you want to order in from that's local, still support a local business if you 100%. Can. But just hang out and enjoy your house or your apartment or wherever. You don't always have to go out. Sometimes it's so nice to just relax at home.
100%.
We're totally on the same page there.
It's a good one.
What board game should we play? I haven't really thought about that.
Maybe some Munchkins?
No. Oh my gosh. Munchkins? I have never been angrier at Eric than the one time we played Munchkins. I'm a highly competitive person.
What?
Highly competitive.
You don't give those vibes at all.
I need to win. I don't think you understand. It's important that I win. And Munchkins is basically like a head-to-head. Like you can cause... You can cause someone else to lose and like go back down.
Exactly.
And Eric had it out for me the last time we played Munchkins.
Can I say?
We fought so much. It was so bad. We've recovered since then, but I don't know that we've recovered enough to ever play Munchkins together again. I love spades or photosynthesis. That's a really
good one.
Nice
That's
one.
A really beautiful board game. It's maybe more in the strategy category for those of you who aren't maybe board game efficient nerds
like us.
But that's a really fun one. I like that one a lot.
And what else have we been enjoying? We've been enjoying Medium.
Your Super Skills game?
Super Skills is so fun. Oh my gosh. If you are not like a board game person, but you like sports, or like Minute to Win It. If you ever watched Minute to Win It, it's basically Minute to Win It challenges, and they're so fun. Maybe we'll end up playing that. That could be really good.
That could be a good time, honestly.
We'll see.
It's fun. It's cool.
I think we should play that with Alex and Sam.
Oh, they would love that.
I think they would have a lot of fun with it.
For sure.
Good. Okay, well, those are our date ideas this week, which means it's time for Couples Trivia. Well, I'm getting more dramatic every week. I'm going to need like a megaphone at some point or like a voice modulator to
for sure
to announce it.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I can go first. Sure. So we set a category each week, and this week's category, we started off with like dream house, and then we decided that was too specific. So we went down to just house general,
like personal house,
like personal homes, like what we want, like all that whole category.
Exactly.
So my easy question: what is my biggest pet peeve about our current house?
There's no basement.
No. What do I hate about it? Come on, you know this. It's something we did but never finished.
Oh, is it that we haven't painted?
Is that we never finished
painting? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Pet peeve.
We bought this house and we were like, the color, it needs, some painting.
It needed a little bit of updating, which is fine.
Yeah, we were fine with that.
Yeah.
We got all the paint we needed. We painted 95%.
We got a lot of help from people who love us.
We got a lot of help from his mom in particular. And then my family helped us with our bedroom and stuff upstairs. But the problem is we got all of that done and then we were ready to move in. We'd been painting so long. We're like, we'll finish the bathrooms.
Oh, yeah.
Once we move in.
It's only like 2 tiny bathrooms. It's so easy.
We moved in all our stuff and then we've never finished the bathrooms.
It's bound to happen eventually. It's been 3 years.
I'm not kidding. I'm going to ask for it for Christmas or something this year. Like, I'm going to go crazy if we don't finish it. So there we go. Putting it out into the universe. Our house will be finished painting this year.
It's been so long that if we put up the new paint, it might be a different color. might have to paint everything.
No. Well, that's better than not having it painted.
No, you're right. Sorry, next question.
Okay, so
maybe half point.
What? Wrong. Okay, you got it in the end, but it took a lot of hints. I do want a basement too, by the way. So that's a good answer, but it's not my pet peeve. It doesn't make me upset.
My bad. I misunderstood the question.
All right, medium question. What have I said that I want to put in at our house that I would probably regret? Hint, think outside.
Is it like a jacuzzi?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You got that exactly right. Woo. I go through phases where I think that I am an outside lady who loves to sit in hot tubs and be in the world. And it turns out I hate mosquitoes. And I also
bugs.
love air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so I really think that if we got that, it would be really nice, but I don't think we'd use it nearly as much as I think you were smart to talk me out of that, basically. So you get a point for being right, and you get an extra half point for being the good common sense one when I get excited about
the
things.
Costco jacuzzi man will just have to wait for his next customer.
They are selling those at Costco right now. They're pretty, not gonna lie. I got my eye caught a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, the hard question. Let's see. Where do I want to buy a vacation house if we can ever get one? Like, and add it as a short-term rental.
Is like genre of place or exact place?
Exact place.
Is it Hilton Head?
It's Hilton Head.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Hilton Head, South Carolina, for people who aren't familiar.
I think it's such a cute little beach town, and there's so much tennis and pickleball. I just think we'd have a really nice time there. Yeah. And I love the idea of like being able to go up there with family every year and everything. I get such a warm, cozy feeling from the beach there.
That's a good one.
So those are my questions. You did great.
Well done.
You did mostly great.
Good questions. I got like what, 2 points?
2.5.
2.5. Thank you.
Pretty good.
Appreciate it.
All right. Now I just have to beat that.
All right. So here's my easy question for you. You ready?
Okay.
What is a must-have I need in our next home? Like we talked about it recently.
Like a computer room or whatever, like an office style thing?
Think even more recently we talked about it.
A pool?
Yeah, a pool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really, really want a pool in our next house.
Okay, well, we'll have to look and see. That's interesting because I do think it would be fun. I still think we might want to put one in our current place, but I do know we have such a rocky backyard. It's why our azaleas and gardenias are probably dying. No fault of ours.
I don't think the gardenias are dying. They're dead.
They're dead. You're right. Okay, well, a pool. Very interesting. And you want that because you want our future kids to learn how to swim early, right? I grew up with
a pool. Honestly, the maintenance for a pool doesn't like turn me off of it.
See, it frightens me because I like saw my dad out there every day like having to do it, and I was like, that seems awful.
I mean, it's another
but as long as you want to do it.
It's a daily routine chore, right? Water the garden,
Hey, sign me up. I certainly don't mind having a pool. I think that would be lovely.
Anyways, that was the easy one.
Love it. Okay.
I'll give you half a point.
Okay.
My medium question. If I were, this is like a pretext, right?
Okay.
What is my supervillain house feature that I've talked about before?
Oh my gosh,
that I thought would be fantastic.
An ant farm.
Specifically,
where it's like in the wall where you can
it's
see.
An entire wall of like a basement or something.
Yes, this is what Eric would have been without me. So you're welcome, world, for tamping down his secret wants of ant farmhouse.
It would be so cool.
It would be wild. One crack in the glass and you're ruined.
Why would the glass crack?
Because sometimes glass cracks.
It's plexiglass. Why would it crack?
Aquariums sometimes have stuff happen. Bad things can happen.
I'm just saying.
That's horrifying to me.
It sounds awesome.
Think that you have to like dress in all black and wear a cape.
It could be
at all times if you have an ant wall.
Why a cape?
To show your angst. Oh. I don't know. Like so you have to like walk around like this,
a vampire. Yeah, vampires keep ant walls.
It's giving vampire energy.
All right. I think I wanted one because I always really enjoyed going to zoos and aquariums and stuff. And I was like, that'd be really cool.
Well, I'm glad you've abandoned the dream.
Yeah. Abandoned the dream.
Okay, squashed it, suffocated it, buried it deep down.
We'll see if I have my supervillain arc later in life or not.
Oh my gosh, please no.
All right, now this last one is actually very hard.
No.
I don't know if you're going to be...
Okay, the easy one was hard.
How many houses have I lived in? And just to give you more of a span, as a child.
I don't know this.
Yeah.
I know that you lived in Mount Olive Church for like forever, but you were born in Texas.
All right, so that's
so there was at
two.
least one other. But my guess is there were probably a couple more in between there.
So what's your final guess?
I'm gonna guess
number.
4 childhood homes before you like went to college.
That's a close one.
Is it 3?
It's 3.
Okay.
Because
I built in too much buffer.
No, you're good. Well, I guess I don't know exactly when I was a super small child, but I know.
Could be 4.
Born in Houston, lived in a Houston house, then moved to Van Austin, a little town outside of San Antonio, for those of you who don't know. Lived there. Then moved to Georgia, and then I lived in that house.
Did you live in an apartment or anything? No. Like in a temporary anything?
Well,
before you moved in?
No.
Darn.
I mean, it was like a Best Western for like a week.
I wanted to be right.
We could, you know what? The Best Western counts.
Is your third home.
Is the third home.
Perfect. Nailed it. Stuck the landing. 10 out of 10.
Lovely.
Well, that's fun.
Good job.
I'll have to count out how many homes I've lived in at
for
one
you,
point. Texas.
2 or 3?
Texas, Marietta, and then
Lake Arrowhead.
I guess that's it. No, there were 2 in Marietta.
There was 2 in Marietta?
Yes, there were 2 in Marietta. One was like Chimney Springs or something, and then the other one was Post Oak. Oh. So I think I lived in 4.
Wow. 4. And there you go. You got yourself correct.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I assumed everyone was the same as me. But maybe we moved around more than that. I'll have to ask my parents. Because my early childhood is such a blur.
I know, right? It's important to know your own lore, right? Your kid lore.
It is. Well, I don't have anything else to talk about. Do you? I guess now that we're done with couples trivia and everything. I think it's a good
spot to end it off.
To wrap it up. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. I so appreciate you tuning in and enjoying our content. We love making it, but we also love creating like the sense of community with you guys as you comment and, engage with it. So help us get Bizarre Coffee's owners on here or any other local business. I really do think that could be a really fun element of this podcast. So we hope you're having a great day. Go out, enjoy the city you're living in, even if it's not Canton, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.